Joseph wants to purchase a new Honda CRV. The base price is $36,860. It's on page 3. Wants the hybrid model, upgrade to 19-inch wheels, some roof rails to transport the canoe and so forth. So there are some options added here. And the first question, obviously we've got a bunch of, so the province has told us that sometimes you'll get a table, sometimes it'll just be in the question. A bunch of numbers just in the question. So I'm doing both to get you used to it. So I'm pretty sure you'll handle it. I'm just letting you know that it can vary greatly. So what's the sticker price? So you know at this point what the sticker is. It's basically add up everything that's thrown at you, including air tax and freight PDI. So all of this, right, will get added to the actual price. So we're just going to go ahead and show our work. You can score half a mark if you show us your work, even though it's just worth 1 mark. If you just, I know some of you are tempted to just plug this all in and just come up with a number. If you get that wrong, we can't give you half a mark. So if you, and it happens, right? We all type in a number wrong and then the whole thing is off. It's 0. So if you want to make sure you get something for it, we can tell. We're allowed to give you half a mark if it's just like you just typed in a number wrong. But if you show us the work, then it's fine. So for example, here, I would write this down, and then maybe on the side here, I'll just say what that is on the side. Okay, as long as you're within the question, how you show us the work, that's up to you. More is better. Okay, so this adds up to 19,400. Those are the options that were added, including air tax. So basically just add everything up. That's what sticker price is wanting us to do. So when you add those two up, 36,860, that's 56,260. Okay. Boom, that's your sticker price. All right, moving on. There's no trade in here. So it says, how much will the new car cost him after tax? Remember, the province has now changes to saying plus tax. I don't think it makes a big difference, but if wording throws you off, and sometimes it does, just remember that's what it is. So can I change something here? I know that for the most part, you used this formula. I will do it two ways because it bit my students last semester when they wrote the provincial exam. So in this case, there is no trade-in, right? There's no trade-in, so I'm just going to subtract $0. And I'm going to multiply this by 1.12. So this is 56,260 times 1.12. So in a sense, the sticker price gets taxed. So this is 1.12 that we multiply. And this is 63,011. And here's the kicker, okay? You would lose half a mark if you just stated it like that on the provincial exam. If it's money and it's not like a whole amount, you need to make sure it has 2 decimals. So all you need to do is, I'm going to use a different color, just add the 0 at the end. And just think of it this way, you would never see a price at a store without that 0 behind it, right? So make sure you do this. Otherwise you get an E6 error. And right now it means nothing to you, but it means a rounding error in our bubble sheet when we mark it. Okay, so make sure you watch that. Please do this, everybody do this on the side. Okay, even if you've done this, I'm going to split this up into GST, PST. All right, folks? So I'm going to go 56,260. So I subtracted the trade-in. There is no trade-in. I'm going to give you the formula sheets after this. I almost forgot. But GST on your formula sheet that I'm about to give you is 5%. And PST/RST is 7%. So those combined give you the 12%. So if we just did GST, we would go times 0.05. Because remember, every time you see percent, you are really thinking 5 over 100, which means 5 divided by 100, which is 0.05. Hope I'm not going too fast there. Okay. So that's where the 0.05 comes from. Same with the 7%, it's 7 over 100. Sorry, this is going to be tight, but it works. 0.07. So I'll do this separately. It's almost like when you get your invoice from a store, they do them separately. And one question on this last exam asked students to break this down into two pieces. And a lot of students just went times 1.12 and they missed these 2 half marks. So that's why I'm doing this with you. So 56,260 times 0.05. The GST in this for this car would be 2,813. The PST or the RST, you just got to multiply it by 0.07. That's 39, 38, 20. So this is your GST, right? And this is the PST of this transaction. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to add the 56,260 at the bottom here. So we're going to add the GST, the PST, and the car itself all in one shot. "99% of the time, you're going to be okay just doing it this way here. This is my way of doing it. This is most of the time I just do it this way because they just ask what is the price after tax. Boom, you plug it in, you go, you're done. But if they were to ever split this up for you, specifically asking for GST, PST separately, you would need to do this way here. It's a longer way. Both give you the same final answer, okay? So just make sure you always circle your final answer. Joseph would like to know how much taxes he paid. Determine the taxes paid. If you just want taxes, I will go 56,260. I'm going to pretend I didn't already do the work before, okay? You multiply this not by 1.12, you multiply this by 0.12. You just want the taxes. So that's 56,260 times 0.12. And some of you already have this done. She's just watching and enjoying the ride, right? It's okay. That's you deserve a break. Okay. So taxes only would be this. It's basically these two numbers up here combined would amount to this right here. So be able to do that just in case. And I'll just tell you this, read carefully every single question. Don't think every question is going to be the same. Read carefully. Okay? Next. Watch this. Joseph did not mention that he had a car to trade in. So at first there was no trade-in. Do you have a trade-in? He said no. That's smart, by the way. Okay? Because otherwise they might inflate, right? This is to prevent the dealer from inflating the price of the car. If Joseph trades in his used vehicle valued at $7,689, calculate the total purchase price after tax. There it is. This is really what you're supposed to, this is what you're supposed to answer at the end of the day. And now we have a trade-in. So this is your trade-in. You take that. So we have to basically recalculate what we did in B. Except for now, instead of -0, we're going to have this number there. So 56,260 minus 76,889 times 1.12. So if you subtract this, you get 48,571. So that is the beauty of trading in. You save taxes. Okay, you save in taxes because you're not paying taxes on the entire amount. You're only paying taxes on what's left after that trade-in. So it is much better than having cash, to be honest, to use a car as a trade-in. Because if you had cash, this much cash on you, the the dealer does not take it away before taxing. They first tax it and then they'll take your cash as payment, right? So the trade-in is nice that way. So this was a bit of a review of what we did yesterday. It's going to come back. Once I give you some work time, you're going to practice this one more time, okay? So this is going to come back. So let's talk about depreciation, okay? So we're going to flip the page here. And I need you to understand what depreciation is. I'm sure that some of you have an idea, but let's do this anyways, okay? So highlight the heading. It means that we've covered it. A car can lose up to 20% of its value in the first year. Over the first 5 years, the car can drop almost half of its value. Obviously, this depends on what kind of car you have. Do you have an import, right? Do you have a domestic car? What is it? That varies, but you lose a lot of the money right up front. Okay? That's why I work hard. We work hard for our money. That's why I would never buy a new car, personally. If you like to buy a new car, go for it. But you can wait like 3 or 4 years to let somebody else lose the money, and then you buy it. Because after that, it kind of stalls, right? So think about, there's like 3 different makes here. So if you want to kind of see, it's very steep decline up until year 9, okay? Year 9, and then it kind of flattens. Like, yes, cars still lose their value, but they don't lose it as fast anymore. So what you kind of, you lose, right, most of the value lost here, okay, in the first 9 years, and then it slows down. After year 9 or so, the value slows down. So that's it. Honestly, you can buy a beater for probably $3,000-4,000 and sell it for about the same after a couple of years. So you don't lose a whole lot of money. And then you kind of realize, you know what, I don't like this kind of car. I want something bigger or smaller or something, right? And, you know, when you're a new driver, chances are you're going to get into some sort of accident. Hopefully it's not major, obviously, but you're going to kind of ding, scratch it, do something like that. So if it's a beater, big deal, right? You're not going to lose a whole lot of money there because it's already older. But you don't listen to your teachers anyway, so I'm just suggesting don't buy a brand new car right off the bat. That would be my suggestion to you. Anyways, using that reasoning, okay, that's what depreciation is. It's the loss of value over time. So now we're going to calculate, and I'm giving you this chart just to help you out. After a few, we're not going to use this table anymore, okay? So Dinesh is a carpenter Thompson. He wants to buy a pickup truck. The truck is valued, here it is. The truck is valued at $28,595. The estimated depreciation rate is 20% per year. So every year it loses 20% of its value. What is the depreciation amount after 3 years? And what is the residual value of the truck after 3 years? I'm going to ask you to do something here. Residual value is mostly used for leasing, okay? So we're going to get rid of residual, okay? Get rid of this word right here. And we're just going to stick, when it comes to depreciation, we're just going to stick at what is the value of the truck after 3 years. That's it. And we keep residual for leasing so that you don't mix them up, okay? And remember, I just got the memo from the province. When calculating depreciation, we use the MSRP or the sticker price before tax. So do not add taxes to depreciation. Please never add taxes. I will add that here. Don't add taxes ever when it comes to depreciation. Because it's just kind of for us to know how much have you lost, and that is not taxed, right? Like It's not like you're paying that to a store or something. It's just you're losing that value over time. So, calculation. So I'm breaking this down into 3 years. So year 1, we start with $28,595, and we're going to figure out what 20% is. You can never just use a percentage as is. You have to turn it into a decimal, right? So that's 0.20. It's 20 over 100, which turns out to be that. So we calculate that, and we're going to put that number in here. If you have a calculator, you can follow along. 28,595 times 0.2. So the first year, you're going to lose $5,719. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of residual here as well. It's not wrong to say it, but I like to keep residual value for leasing. But what's the value after the first year? We just go 28,595 minus whatever we lost. And that's going to be the big number in this cell right here. 28,595 minus 5,719. So your value after the first year is 22,000 and then some. So that's what's remaining. That's what comes with us, okay? Year 2, we take that number, what's left, and we lose 20% of that new value. That's what comes with you here. And I already have that on my calculator, so don't be clearing values on your calculator. You just go times 0.2 or 20, and that is 4,575 and 20 cents that you lost the second year. So it does go down in terms of its value. What you're losing every year does go down. Okay, it shouldn't be the same, because some students just multiply this by 3 or something, and then that's how much you lose in 3 years. It's not correct. Okay, you have to do it this way. So then you take the 22876 minus the new loss here. And this is how I do this on my calculator. I just go minus the price of the car. Like I go backwards. I know it's a negative answer, but I just write down that number, okay? There it is, 18,300. So that's the value of the car after 2 years. One more year, okay? Just one more time here. 18,380 cents times, we're going to figure out 20% again. There it is. 3,660 and 16 cents. And your new value, the value at the end of the third year, you basically take what's there and you subtract that. So you're left with 14,640 and 64 cents. So this is a little bit of a guide for you. So the value of the car after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years. Okay. So A, the depreciation amount. Okay. So let's answer A here. The depreciation would be these 3 numbers added up. Okay. So 5719 plus 4575.20 plus 3660.16. Lolo, you get 13,954.36. Circle that. I don't know if you want to just highlight that you're adding these up to get your total there. Some students like to think of this as loss. Okay, you lost. The total depreciation is basically how much you've lost. Same thing. Almost 14,000, right? On page 4. B is the value. Value after 3 years would be the 14,640 and 64 cents. I'm going to highlight that with a different color so you can tell where I got that number from. Okay, so this is the page 4. This is a concept. Depreciation is a concept and you need to be familiar with it. I will show you very shortly how to do one without a table. I want you to go to page 5 though and try that first question where it says you try, just to make sure you're comfortable with it. So go to page 5, do the top one there. That little table, it's just over 2 years. And I will go over that shortly. I'll leave this up for now. I think I'm just going to show you the answer to this one. I'm going to work through that other one there shortly. So maybe look up here and just compare. So you lose this much the first year, and please read carefully. The province can change these percentages. They can say you lose 25% the first year and then 15% the second year. So just watch out, whatever it says. In my cases, most examples do the same. So first year you lose this much, you subtract it from what you started, then you take that remaining value, 25% again, you get this, subtract it from the previous value. So the 19,000 is our value after the 2 years, and adding up these two numbers here, the depreciation amounts, is obviously our total depreciation, which is 15,049 and 35 cents. Okay, so now I'm going to show you no template. That's going to be on AC's test quizzes, even province. I haven't seen them doing a table, but if they do, you know what to do. Okay, so I'm going to go to that next one. I'm going a little too fast. I can bring it back up later. So let's do this one here together. I'm going to change this a little bit. Okay, so you make the changes. I hope you didn't start this one, because then it's going to, let's just go 2 years instead of 3. Make it a little shorter. And how about we say, assume a 15% depreciation, and we'll cross this off the first year. And let's go 10% the second year. I just want to change it up a little bit so that's not always the same, repetitive. So 15% and then 10%. All right. So this is how I do it without a template. I just go year 1. The car is worth 26,000, so we just go 26,101.50, and we'll figure out 15% first. So we'll figure that out. You grab your calculator. Figure out 15%, and there it is. That's 3,915 and 23 cents. That's how much you lost the first year. Then I take this number and I go minus, right, like this, 39, 15, 23. I actually show that right here. And then I'll calculate my year 2. So I go 26101.5 minus 3915. So you can see that there's a lot of similarities with the table. So year 2, and now we're going to go 10%. You lose 10% the second year. So we change that to 0.10. Okay, so it just goes times 0.1 or 0.10. It doesn't really affect anything. And there it is. That's 2218.63. And now you need to do this one more time. And yes, rounding is going to maybe creep in here, and you might be off by a little bit. We'll work with that. So 19,967.64. So you did a bunch of work here. So you just have to be careful. What is the question asking me? Okay. In this case, the province usually does one or the other. But in this case, they want the total depreciation and the value after 2 years. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we clearly state that. Value after 2 years, we're just going to make sure this 19,000 is clearly labeled. Okay, so that's that. Total depreciation. I'm going to show the work there. You just add that up. It's 6,133.86. So if I circle this whole thing, everybody will know that my answers are in there and I've clearly labeled what's what. I think another cool fact is that if you were to take your original amount, right, and subtract everything you've lost, right, you should be ending up with this number, right? So try to see that pattern there, and you should be okay. All right. I will let you work very shortly. Let me just talk about the pros and cons of buying new, because the province needs, like, they will require you to know that, to have some good answers there. So we're going to skip and go to page 7. Page 6 has a challenge there for you, finding the residual value after 20 years, but there's a trick there. I'll give you the formula before you try that one. I don't want you to try that for 20 years one at a time. It's going to take you too long. But let's go to page 7 first, and you need to have this on your study sheet. So this is specifically for buying a new vehicle. So you have to have some pros and some cons. Okay, some good things and some bad things about buying a new vehicle. So obviously lower maintenance cost, and why is that? Because the car is under warranty, right? Cars are under warranty. So that's why you would pay less on maintenance. And yes, you can say it's because it's brand new, but the best answer is to say because it's under warranty. Another pro or another advantage is that you can customize it. Okay? You can choose exactly what you want. It's harder to do when you're buying used, right? It's like, oh, I like the car, but you don't have leather seats. That's kind of like a deal breaker for me, right? When you buy new, you just click, 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 and you order your car exactly the way you want it. No hidden damage, right? You're the first owner. So if they ask you to justify, you got to have a good response to the justification. It is safer compared to a used vehicle. Why would you say that? I will say this. It has the latest safety features. It's got the backup camera. It's got lane departure assist or something like that. More airbags, etc. And some have like a 360 camera nowadays, like all around you. So they're safer. They're made. The lane departure is huge, right? This one, you can see the newer cars when I come beside them. There's a little light on their side mirror, right? Letting them know that there's a car in their blind spot. So that's huge. Anyways, that's why they're safer. They're more fuel efficient. Okay, they meet latest fuel emission standards. Let's put it this way. Right, the government imposes higher and higher standards all the time. So that's why cars have to meet that criteria. Older cars don't have to, right? They can't roll it backwards. And so that'll be why they're more fuel efficient. Usually they get better finance rates. I'm just going to leave that. Usually newer cars get lower interest rates because they're brand new and they cost a fortune, right? So they make their money with the volume of the car, like how much it's cost. And there's 0% financing, but I'm just going to leave that like that. And the cons, the disadvantages, higher depreciation costs, right? Much of the value is lost up front. Okay. It is not a secret that it costs more to insure a brand new vehicle. Okay. Since the replacement value is higher. And the parts too, like it doesn't take much for a brand new car to be written off. If it's T-boned, like from the side or something, like a lot of the cars, they're written off. The new EVs, like electric vehicles, the battery is underneath. If that gets nicked at all, they have to like write off the whole car, because most of the value is in the batteries actually. So things like that. It's more expensive to insure, believe it or not. You pay for freight and PDI, so shipping and inspection. I'm just going to leave it like that. That would be in and of itself a good reason. And you pay for air and tire tax. You can put that on there too. Okay, that's a disadvantage. So on your study sheet, please, you only need to do this once and then you're done. Okay. Do you need to have every single one? No. I would say have 3 advantages, 3 disadvantages, and then you're good to go. So if the province ever throws this at you, you have some to choose from, because sometimes they make up a story and only one of these is the best one in that case. Okay. All right. That's that. I'm going to ask you to flip over. Page 9 is a bit of a worksheet that I've made for this section. So I'm going to say 9 to 12. And you have class time, so use it, okay? Use your class time wisely to get this done. Have a very good grasp on this. So you're going to go through these tables, through buying a brand new one with some options, some trade-ins. There's going to be depreciation. So make sure you take the class time and you ask me for help if you need it. What I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to look for the key so I can post it on Google Classroom. So if you'd like to check right away, you go for it. I'm not going to have this on YouTube, but